Look, most people out there still think crypto is just, digital money. They picture volatile markets and speculative assets bouncing around the internet. But honestly, that is not what's quietly happening anymore. Beneath all those flashy headlines, an entirely new infrastructure layer is emerging. Now, the original promise of crypto was this borderless peer-to-peer network, a way to really reclaim your financial sovereignty. But as it's grown, it's totally morphed. It is no longer just some speculative casino. It is literally becoming the foundational plumbing of a brand new global system.
What we are witnessing right now is way more profound than just a new asset class popping up. A programmable digital architecture is quietly taking over. We're talking about a massive infrastructure that connects payments, digital identity, financial access, stablecoins, AI systems, and global coordination networks, all woven into one seamless framework. Governments are stepping into the system. Major, massive institutions are actively building on top of it. So it's no longer just an alternative to traditional finance. It is actively positioning itself to become the very operating system of our entire digital society.
Before we unpack exactly how this new system works, please note the following. This video on the channel Block Spawns Funds is created for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial or investment advice. All right, let's get into the numbers. To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this infrastructure shift, we have to look at stablecoins. These are digital tokens specifically engineered to maintain a stable value, usually pegged right to the US dollar. In just the second quarter of 2024 alone, stablecoins facilitated a staggering $8.5 trillion in transaction volume. Think about that for a second. To put $8.5 trillion into perspective, that is roughly the GDP of Japan and Germany combined, just moved seamlessly across the internet in a span of 3 months. Get this, that $8.5 trillion? It is more than double the $3.9 trillion processed by Visa during that exact same time frame. Traditional banking relies on these friction-heavy, legacy systems that charge a massive 6% on average for cross-border fees and literally take days to clear. Honestly, it's like using a carrier pigeon in the age of fiber optics. Stablecoins are bypassing that entire headache. They are moving billions of dollars faster and cheaper, acting as the new global rails for everything from your everyday remittances to massive business-to-business settlements. We're talking real-time settlement on a global scale. So, you might be wondering, where is all this volume actually heading? Well, the Bank for International Settlements is actively pushing a framework they call the Unified Ledger. Imagine a single, cohesive digital environment where tokenized shares from giant asset managers, your everyday commercial bank deposits, and wholesale central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, all live and interact under one roof. Instead of having these completely siloed, disconnected financial systems that have to constantly talk and reconcile with each other, everything is brought onto one unified platform spanning Layer 1 and Layer 2 blockchain architecture. And because these totally different forms of money and assets now live on the exact same unified ledger, executing transfers becomes incredibly streamlined. You no longer need those complex, disconnected clearinghouses acting as middlemen. A buyer can transfer tokenized deposits while the seller simultaneously transfers tokenized shares, and the whole thing just settles instantly in central bank money. All that traditional friction, it's entirely removed. Money itself literally becomes programmable. But hold on a second, because here is where we really need to look much closer. As these networks have scaled up to handle trillions of dollars, a deep, hidden tension has started to emerge. There's this illusion of decentralization at play here. When you peel back the layers of this shiny new infrastructure, you start to see that in order to grow and actually handle global demand, the system had to rely on something else entirely. Turns out, hidden control layers exist right beneath the surface. To process all these transactions lightning fast, these networks rely on a highly concentrated group of large validators and custodial staking providers. To actually stay online and not crash, they depend heavily on major, centralized cloud computing infrastructure. Even the very rules of these protocols are often controlled by governance tokens that are monopolized by early developers, or they're secured by admin keys and multi-signature wallets held by just a select few. So, in plain English, the rules of this supposedly decentralized system are quietly shaped by a handful of exchanges, cloud providers, and validators. True decentralization is often masking a highly centralized orchestration.
And the core mechanism actually enforcing the rules of this new infrastructure is the smart contract. You can think of smart contracts as self-executing scripting code. Basically, it's programmable money that acts like an automated escrow completely without any human intermediaries. And because this is self-executing code living permanently on the blockchain, institutions and regulators have realized something massive. They don't just have to use it to move money around. They can use it for automated, undeniable governance.
This realization leads us directly to a massive paradigm shift known as compliance by design. Think about what this actually means for everyday users. Instead of an auditor investigating a suspicious transfer weeks after the fact, the code simply will not let the money move in the first place. You connect a verifiable digital ID, the smart contract automatically runs Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering checks, a real-time AI monitors the transaction to screen for global sanctions, and then bam, the transaction is instantly settled or blocked. Governments and regulators are literally embedding themselves directly into the base layer. Policy becomes code.
And guys, this isn't just theoretical anymore. Look at current initiatives like Project Mandala, which perfectly demonstrates how smart contract policy wrappers are enforcing on-chain compliance right now. By basically wrapping a transfer in automated jurisdictional rules, the system generates a cryptographic proof of compliance before the asset ever even moves. It completely replaces the slow, manual auditing processes of traditional finance with algorithmic, pre-transaction control.
Now, to manage the sheer, overwhelming volume of all this data flowing across global networks, artificial intelligence is fusing directly with blockchain technology. AI is stepping in as the ultimate coordination and surveillance tool in this new operating system. It's monitoring wallet behaviors in real time. It's conducting automated sanction screening right at the protocol level. We are even seeing frameworks where AI agents automatically complete customer due diligence and untangle these complex multi-chain investigations. This is exactly why nations are racing to build and control these digital frameworks. It's a massive geopolitical battleground where transparency can very quickly morph into total observability.
Because this infrastructure is becoming so absolutely critical to the global economy, securing the base layer is paramount. Regulators and institutions are already preparing for existential threats like quantum computing. Initiatives like the Post-Quantum Financial Infrastructure Framework, or PQFIF, are actively being designed as we speak to protect institutional wallets. The driving fear here is a chilling scenario they call harvest now, decrypt later. This is where adversaries steal and hoard encrypted blockchain data today, just waiting for future quantum computers to break the cryptography years down the line. So, migrating this infrastructure to quantum-resistant standards isn't just a nice upgrade. It is a desperate race to defend the very foundation of the new digital economy.
When we zoom all the way out to the societal level, the Bank for International Settlements calls this emerging paradigm the FinTernet. We are witnessing the absolute convergence of interoperable financial ecosystems. Finance, identity, and governance are all merging into a single digital framework. Unified ledgers are handling the tokenized assets. Digital IDs securely anchor individuals to every single transaction they make, and the rules of the game exist entirely as automated code. Individuals, institutions, and AI systems are forming entirely new, layered hierarchies. You see, power in this system isn't being removed. It is simply being automated, reorganized, and coded directly into the technology itself.
So, the real question is no longer whether crypto is going to survive. It is already the foundational plumbing of our future, and the battle for digital power has absolutely begun. The real question we need to be asking is, if crypto becomes the undisputed infrastructure beneath our digital society, who ultimately controls the system itself?